You're listening to an ASCII Lounge podcast.
This is Talking Supply Chain, where we tackle the most important supply chain topics and trends with the industry's best and brightest. Welcome back to the ASCII Lounge, ASCII members. I'm Monique Fenech from Australian Supply Chain Institute, and joining us on the ASCII Lounge today is Gerald Desmier. Welcome to the ASCII Lounge, Gerald.
Hi, Monique. Thank you very much.
I have been meaning to have you join the ASCII Lounge for some time now, so I'm very pleased that you could join me. It's been quite an interesting year, so it's great to have another podcast with not only a member of ASCII but an instructor, a trainer in supply chain management, and in particular the APICS certifications. So we're really pleased to have you on the lounge today. Can you start by telling us a little more about yourself and your interest in supply chain?
Sure. I started my working career as a tutor at university, leading IT tutorials, conducting computer laboratory sessions, marking assignments and examinations, managing student online activities, and so on. And then I joined a consultancy firm, working mainly in projects, different types of projects, across various business functions and across various companies. And so you'll find my professional background includes project and change management, supply chain operations, also testing, both UAT and system testing, and finally training and development. And this again across a diverse portfolio of chemical, finance, telecommunications, government and educational industries here in Australia, in Singapore, and also in Hong Kong. I'd like to talk about one of my key achievements, and that was as when I was a regional manager for supply chain capability development. So that's supply chain training in a global chemical company, where I was a key player in establishing an ongoing APICS program across the Asia Pacific region. And I also ended up facilitating APICS courses across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Of course, as you mentioned, I now teach APICS CPIM classes for the ASCII.
Yeah, great career. And a lot of people stumble across APICS when they're in those sorts of capability development roles. So we were lucky that that was your point in time. Since the 1960s, Australia has been involved in the APICS certifications when a group of our New South Wales chapter travelled over to America and did site tours around manufacturing plants there, and that's when they met with APICS. So since then, over 130,000 supply chain practitioners around the world have studied the CPIM. But who are they? Who are these 130,000 people around the world? What is their expertise?
Well, CPIM stands for Certified in Planning and Inventory Management. From the name itself, it kind of gives you an idea of who would join that Certified in Planning and Inventory Management. So it is a supply chain certificate, and it is really an important career path for employees in the whole length and breadth of supply chain, in production and record management, in supply management, in operations, in planning, both supply and demand planning, in procurement, purchasing, in fact, in the whole end-to-end supply chain management.
What would you say to someone who is considering studying this? Why would they study?
Yeah, well, CPIM really is a globally recognized certification. It is the standard, I'd say, for professional competence for supply chain employees. Employees who are wishing to increase their functional knowledge of production and inventory management, for example, or to improve their internal operations and thereby increase customer satisfaction, should aim to get their CPIM certification. It is also an important certification for career advancement and professional growth, as it demonstrates to your management your commitment to advancing your career and your company's operations, which in turn increases that employee's value to an organization.
Mm.
I actually believe that obtaining certifications generally, is keeping yourself relevant and up to date. And if you take CPIM in particular, you are additionally providing to yourself as an employee a validation of your real world experience. You even start to think strategically and expand your field of vision.
Mm.
Remember that knowledge improves your confidence. Yes, so if you learn nothing else, your confidence will increase. Your confidence to work better, to work smarter, and to make overall better decisions.
And why did you decide at that time when you did study the APICS certification within your global company where you were working? Why did you decide to commence facilitating and instructing the courses? What was it for you that made you decide?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, when I was studying the CPM certification myself, I did. As I said earlier, I have a vast range of roles that I did in my professional career. But I decided to get this certification. And while I was studying the certification myself, I attended classes that were taught by many different instructors. All of these were experts in supply chain. Many had worked 25, 30 years in various supply chain roles, but very few of them could bring to life the content that they were teaching. Many of them would just read from the slides and then hand out exercise sheets to our students in the class to complete. And then we would check our answers against a prepared answer sheet, yeah, and
Mm.
mark ourselves without understanding why we got that question wrong or right, or the logic for working out the problem and obtaining the correct answer. Now, I'm a fairly creative person, and so when I was, sitting in these classes, I thought I know I could do a better job. I could
Yeah,
bring to life these APICS training materials, with the
yeah.
amount of years of instructor training and practice that I've had, and also presenting to various audience in various companies. And how do I do
Oh,
this? I do this by employing different strategies that are relevant to the different learner types in my class, breaking down or decomposing, if you will, the complex concepts into a manageable bite size, relating topics that the students are studying to their own jobs, for example, for better understanding and retention. I also firmly believe, Monique, that one size does not fit all, and so I
yeah.
often offer a more tailored or supported approach to our students as they require in the class. And I must say that I very firmly believe, as an instructor myself, that all instructors, whatever their subject areas, in addition to their expertise and their experience, they need to have the flexibility, the compassion, the empathy, if you will, the self discipline, the drive, and the patience to reach their students. Yeah, that's the ultimate, not just running through 50 slides or 100 slides.
Mm,
I feel that they must be able to alter their styles, to
yeah,
take the twists and turns to suit their students' needs, especially when their students, as the ones we have, are adult learners. They're full time workers. I always
yeah.
tell them that they're full time mums and dads and experts in their own professions.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right, and I think people learn in different ways now,
That's right.
as
Yeah.
well. So not just the rote learning of the past. So what's new in the new APICS CPIM? I can see this new version 7.0 come out, and how is it different?
Well, firstly, it's a simple name change. It used to be called Certified in Production and in Inventory Management. Now it's called Certified in Planning and Inventory Management. And this is absolutely right because planning has always been integral to CPIM. And now the new change better reflects that this certification includes this competency, which is planning. And secondly, it complements the hard copy training. Complementing the hard copy training is a much more advanced and intuitive online learning system, which enables the students to personalize their study experience better, and which and also allows them to focus on smaller content segments to facilitate better learning and retention. Besides this, the new version also provides multi-device portability. By that I mean you now have mobile access on different devices to reading the modules, the study texts, the study tools, the tests, and other resources like your flashcards and glossary and the tests, the exams. There are several practice exams that you can take. So all of this is in a much more intuitive and easily accessible manner now.
Mm. Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Yes,
And
lovely.
I'm really pleased they've done that because we're all such, like I said before, different learners, and you could be out waiting to pick up people in your car, and that gives you 20 solid minutes perhaps of time on your phone to just do something. We really have to maximize that time. Speaking of
Absolutely.
time, yeah, yeah. How long does it take to travel yourself right through the CPIM certification? Firstly, sort of part one and then part two.
Well, typically it could take 2 years. You could do it in less if you have the time. But most people, as I said, are full-time workers. They're mostly
Mm,
full-time mums and dads. It's difficult to find the time. I myself took it in 2 years. I think APIC's website says you need to do it within 3 years. You can easily do it in 2 years. You can do it in shorter times because there are two parts to the CPIM certification. Part one, which is a little shorter, and part two, which is a deep dive into part one. So candidates typically take both parts within 2 years, as I said. Uh, they typically take an exam at the end of each part, and they must pass both parts to obtain certification. The exam itself, each of the exams consists of 150 questions. It's within a 3.5 hour time limit. So it's pretty full on, especially for some of us who haven't been a student for quite a while. So it can be a little bit a challenge to get back into the student mode, but it's not difficult at all. 3.5 hours will fly by. There are, as I said, 150 questions. The scoring range is from 200 to 350, and you must get 300 to 350 to pass the exam. Yeah, so the
mm,
minimum passing score is 300, and at the end of the exam, you press submit, and bang, you get your
mhm,
scores, and you also get a diagnostic information of the topics that you have. So if you fail, which no one is going to do that, I'm sure, but if you do, then at least you get a diagnostic information on the topic area, so you can beef up your study for the next part, for example. There are
mm,
different type of questions there. As I said, 150 questions, different type of format in the questions. All these questions, the whole test, each exam is designed to test the candidate's understanding. So it's not,
mm,
what's the meaning of this word or that word. It's the candidate's understanding of the
mm,
CPI and body of knowledge. And so you have different question types. You've got multi-choice questions, fill in the blanks, arithmetic calculations, and so on. But most of the time, I always think of it this way: the answers are there before you. You just have to make the right selection. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And there are exam retakes that you can sit
Absolutely, absolutely.
after
Yeah,
if you do
yeah,
happen to fail the first time, and it's
yeah.
always a learning process
Uh,
too.
Very true, because again, it's hard. We might have put our studies behind us a long way, but I'll say this: that CPM one should be the easiest to pass. It
Mm.
it really is the preliminary, and then CPM two is the deep dive. But by the time you've got the experience of CPM, it's not an unknown.
And look, Gerald, I think also it's important to note that designees of the certification must maintain that certification and keep it current. You go to all this trouble of passing two massive exams, and then following that, it's about really embedding yourself into the ASCII community, continued learning program, and you know prove back to the reporting period when it's due through APICS that you have been continuing with your local chapter on your learning so that you can maintain that certification. And that's our role, and that's our pledge to APICS is that we deliver webinars and events and short courses and memberships for designees locally so that they can keep up their learning.
Absolutely,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
what's it like being part of the ASCII community for you?
Yeah. Oh, wonderful! It's absolutely wonderful. I've been with ASCII now for a few years, teaching the CPIM courses. In my opinion, ASCII is the professional accreditation body for supply chain management in Australasia. There's no getting away from that, and it's not a bias because it's hands-on. It's very much first experience that I have with them. It is ASCII is also a member of the global ASCM. partner network, offering their global recognized products, as you said, products and services, including their certification programs such as CPIM, which we're talking about today, to the supply chain professionals all over the world. I actually find ASCII, again, as I said, in my personal opinion, as as a professional body, relentless, and you mentioned that yourself, relentless in their pursuit of its stated goals, which is to enhance the status of supply chain management. And they do this by improving the quality of their workforce through education, for example, through their many webinars and so on, and also to increase the public trust and confidence through their compliance with the relevant regulatory and legal bodies. And as you hinted at this, and in my personal opinion too, they do this very well. They do this very well by offering a seemingly, to me, because I get so many invitations in my inbox, a seemingly inexhaustive stream of webinars and workshops, training and credit-bearing programs. These are very important to maintain your certification, and often hot topics too, not just current topics, but hot topics, which are either free of charge or substantially discounted for its members. And just to wrap up your question, I particularly enjoy working with ASCII, delivering the various CPIM programs in your schedule because of your professionalism and also your unwavering dedication to enhance the professional status of supply chain management across Australasia.
Well, Gerald, thank you so much for joining us on the ASCII Lounge. It's been really enlightening hearing about the CPIM and, of course, the new CPIM. And you can certainly tell the passion come through your voice over the podcast for your love for the CPIM and how you instruct it. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Monique, for giving me this opportunity. And yes, I do love teaching the CPIM. So I'm very much looking forward to the classes starting next Monday.
Yes, that's right. So we have classes, folks, that's starting end of March and they'll go for 11 weeks. We have other classes on our event listing on our website. Please get online and have a look at some of the links in this podcast brief that will take you to the schedules and the pricing. And we hope to see you in those classes soon. Thanks and for joining, and bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to our podcast today. For more information about our supply chain community, visit asci.org.au.